Welcome to Out of Continues, episode 285. This is 285 coming at you live right now. I am your host, Staffa. We are Out of Continues. We're a weekly podcast talking about video games and related topics every Monday on outofcontinues.com as an MP3, and it goes up before that on youtube.com/outofcontinues as a video where you can see me and maybe an Asian guy walking in the background, maybe not. No, he's not walking in the background right now. And with me today is my guest host of the week, Ali. Ali sound like a robot while he says sup.
Oh, do I?
Yes. This week's episode segments will include our main topic, which is video game accessibility. After that, we have a quick announcement, and then we go into some news topics. A lot of stuff has been happening because we got Comic-Con San Diego going on. So lots of news. So let's get going. And before we get started, let's do a quick disclaimer that all opinions expressed on the show are of our own and not of our employers, whether past, present, or future. Hashtag promote Staffa. So Ali,
Yes.
now that you're not sounding like a robot, let's talk about our main topic, which is video game accessibility.
Oh, yeah.
But while we're about to talk about that, I just want to point out my shirt over here saying Able Gamers.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Able Gamers. Yep. Good friends of the show. Got to shake hands with the president of Able Gamers while he had a dead possum on his head.
That was like a possum hat.
Yep.
It wasn't like a raccoon.
I'm pretty sure it was a possum hat. It wasn't a raccoon.
Possums don't have fur.
It was a possum.
Maybe they do have fur. Okay.
Well, it was a stuffed possum. It wasn't a real possum.
Oh.
I mean, if it was a real possum, it would stink. So, anyways.
Okay. Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, let's talk about our main topic. And you brought this up because what was the gentleman's name again?
I've stopped since then.
It is Pat. No, the article is written by Patrick Klepek.
Yeah.
Richard or AJ Ryan.
Yes. Yes. So he tweeted. I follow Waypoint, so I saw Waypoint retweet him, and AJ is he is a gamer that does not have hands or arms, for that matter. So
okay. Doesn't have hands or arms, Tony.
Yes.
Tony, the guy does not have hands or arms. Tony said that he should work on other stuff rather than playing video games due to his handicap. Good job, Tony, on being insensitive.
Tell Tony that he is Super Monday Night Combat.
Oh, what's that? Tell Tony he is Super Monday Night Combat.
Yes, he is Super Monday Night
No, that's too much of a compliment to Tony.
No, well, because SMNC failed, so.
Oh, okay. Ali says you are Super Monday Night Combat because Super Monday Night Combat is a failure.
Anyway, so he does not have arms. So he plays the game with his feet. And Waypoint, Patrick Klepek, wrote an article about how able gamers and other like, I'm not sure what the correct term is, but like handicapped gamers,
people with disability.
They've been trying to work with Nintendo for over a decade on being able to remap buttons, being able to have just alternative options for playing their games.
Mm-hmm.
And Nintendo just really has not stepped up to the plate in that regard, um, and it shows. I mean, look at every single one of their games has some sort of shoehorned motion, or like you can't remap controls.
Yeah, and it's like a requirement as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's just it's rough, man. I mean, like,
and then AJ Ryan mentioned that like ever since Twilight Princess, he was unable to play a Nintendo game.
I think he specifically mentioned Zelda. I think.
Well, he said Zelda TP, which is Zelda Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was talking about all Nintendo games. I think he was just talking about
Oh,
just
okay.
Zelda games because um yeah, I think they all, because Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, they all have forced motion in it. So yeah, I mean that's I mean, as someone like myself that has all my limbs, all my appendages, 20/20 vision, that sort of thing, like,
A semi-healthy man.
yes, yes, semi-healthy. um, I like, video games have been my life.
Yes.
I can't, I don't know how many tens of thousands of hours I've put into games.
Mm-hmm. Same.
So when a company just completely disregards, other gamers, or whatever you want to call them, other people that enjoy video games, it is kind of frustrating. And I'm, like I said, I'm not the one with the difficulties. Um, but like, for example, AJ, he contacted Nintendo, I think, regarding maybe Breath of the Wild or something like that. Someone responded, said something along the lines of, "We empathize with your unfortunate condition."
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, first of all, that's not really the best way to word things. Second of all, do you really? Because you guys don't show it. Like, you don't have any accessibility options in there at all.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when I started playing Uncharted 4. I mean, every time I play a game, I go through all the options before I start. And in Uncharted 4, they have so many accessibility options. I've never seen a game have as many accessibility options as they did.
Well, from what I heard, well, I can't remember what was that game. The first-person shooter on Wii that was supposed to be like the Wii's equivalent to Halo.
The one that was really bad.
The one that had like the presidents at the end of the game.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
remember what it was, but I know
had
what you're talking about.
it was by high voltage. Hold on, High Voltage Studios. Um, Hold on, I could pull this up really quick. It came out. Holy crap! They have a lot of games. Um,
Conduit.
Conduit, yes. So Conduit, from what I understand, Conduit, everything is remappable. It's like the only Wii game where every single thing is remappable.
Not just remappable, but you could. There's a lot of options in terms of like fine tuning things as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
the border for um, when it starts to turn, the sensitivity.
For this is Uncharted, correct?
Oh no, I was talking about Conduit
Oh,
specifically.
okay, okay.
But yeah, so in regards to Uncharted, they have even options like auto aim or snap to enemy, or that sort of, like, they've got all sorts of stuff.
Uh-huh.
I can't tell you what they all are, but in addition to Sony's inclusion of system level button remapping per game,
Mm-hmm.
un- that on top of Uncharted 4, Naughty Dog's options that they provided makes it extremely accessible, and I think that's great. Um, that like I enjoyed Uncharted 4, and the more people that get to enjoy it with me, and I could potentially have discussion with or whatever. Um,
Yeah, you have the correct mentality of gaming where you love gaming so much you want as many people to enjoy it.
yeah,
Unlike like console white knights who are like you have to have my console to play this game, and I will be
any fanboy.
yeah, I will be angry if this game is not exclusive to my console. It's
Yeah,
like what kind of mentality is that? That makes no sense. If you love video games, don't you want everybody to enjoy it?
exactly.
Why do you want the game only for yourself and for other people who have that same console? It makes no sense. But anyways, that's just a tangent that like blows my mind every time I hear that. I don't know. Sorry.
No, no, I completely understand. Um, but yeah, it's just something that's very frustrating to me. And I mean, it goes beyond. I mean, even though Uncharted 4 did well on the physical aspect of things, like typical hand or feet, whatever you want to say, inputs. I don't believe, at least I'm not 100% sure, that the game had colorblind options. They could have, maybe I just missed them, but I think colorblind options are another thing that's highly overlooked, and if it is included, it's typically not implemented in a good way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think the only game I could think of that really did well, like when I say game, I mean conventional um, non-mobile game, because there are a lot of mobile games. It's like, oh, colorblind mode adds shapes or whatever to the blocks,
Yeah.
because they're like puzzle games or whatever. So um, TF2, made by Valve, um, colorblind mode has all sorts of not like it's not just color changes, but there's also I don't know what you want to call it. There's like interface notifications as well, or not notifications. Like there are things going on the screen that tell you that something is happening that you probably have difficulty seeing. For example, if you're on fire in the game, I mean, if that game is has a very
It's very chaotic.
well, it's not only very chaotic, but they have a red blue
Oh yeah.
color theme, and red and blue are two common color blind. Um, you know, they're common for color blindness. If it's red, red looks like green. If it's blue, I think it also maybe looks like green. I'm not 100% sure, but the point is, whether regardless of what kind of colorblind you are, it's hard to see things, because if you're on one side of the map, things might all look the same as the other, the next side of the map. So,
Yeah.
um,
I know one thing that it does is while someone's getting healed, there'd be like little like crosses, like red crosses, like just floating around the character as they're getting healed to help indicate that you know the healing is healing.
another thing is when you're on fire, because it's a subtle effect. You see, like light flames around the border of the screen, and um, for example, if you are red-green colorblind and you are in the red part of the map, you would just not be able to determine what's hurting you until you just like, oh, I'm on fire, and then you die or something like that. But they include like a 1 pixel line goes from, I think, like the bottom left to the top right of the screen. Just this giant like line, not giant, but like I said, 1 pixel across the whole screen. And if you see that, it's not really intrusive, but it's a signal to say, oh, I'm getting hurt by fire.
Oh,
So um, I know the colorblind modes in Overwatch have been discussed before, because like they're just kind of color filters, and color filters are nice to, they kind of make the colors better um, identifiable to whatever color blindness you are. And they also have a like a strength meter for the color blindness as well. So if you're like very colorblind, you have that all the way up, or if you're slightly colorblind, because there's levels to that. So they have that, but the thing is, they also haven't really thought about those type of things where, I mean, Overwatch is very chaotic. Let's say you run in and you're getting poisoned by um,
you're spending a lot of time with these examples. I mean, let's get to the point
yeah. So,
yeah. You're spending way too much time just pointing out a million examples. Let's proceed.
well, the thing is, Nintendo has none of those options. Color blindness, physical, like no remapping. They don't have a pro controller like Xbox does. They don't have alternate inputs available. It's like, oh, well, I guess you could use the pro controller. It's like, well, you still need to do motion with the pro controller for like Breath of the Wild. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how can anyone like these are supposedly great games? I mean, I haven't played them. I'd love to, but the thing is, while I have the option to play them, other people do not, and Nintendo has not made any efforts to change that. I mean, think about it. Since the Wii, which is a motion-focused game, what have they done? They've doubled down on motion. They've not enhanced their system to include any other options. So
yeah, they've made it more exclusive and less inclusive, and it's very ironic because they, in their attempts of making video games more simple, with like, oh, here's a Wiimote, you pick it up and you wave it, you don't really need to learn button combinations because you wave it around. That was their attempt of making it more inclusive, but in actuality, they've opened the gates for some people, but they've also closed the gates off on others.
it's they're not conscious, or they don't care, or just about all this ableism type stuff.
I mean, there's no way they can't be conscious because like Able Gamers and AJ Ryan, like
Yeah.
they've been contacting them. They've been saying, "Hey, look, your games are not accessible to disabled gamers."
Well, I say maybe they're not conscious because you have the first level of communication, but
Yeah.
I mean, what really can go, like, who knows the hierarchy of things, and where these messages end up to and stuff like that. So
Kojima's recycling bin.
yes, Kojima, yes.
Yeah, yes, it goes from Nintendo to Kojima.
Nintendo's like, you're a fellow Japanese, you know what to do, and
They,
Kojima's like, that's not my job.
yeah, they put in one of those what's it, those tubes, those air vac tubes. Yeah, they put in those, and it goes from Nintendo's office to Kojima's office, and he's like, what's this? I'm not Nintendo. He just tosses it.
Tosses it, anyway,
True story.
like, I thought this was a great time to bring this up, because like Nintendo's an extremely renowned company. They make amazing games, but there is a point in time where they should recognize these things, and
Yes.
they don't. They just continuously do not, and I don't know what else to say. It's
Yeah. So when I worked on my game Beware the Bully, my senior project, like I did not think about accessibility at all. Even though I was a supporter of Able Gamers, I mean, I got this shirt before then. Yeah, that's my contribution. I wear a shirt.
aware.
Yeah, but anyways, so I wasn't even thinking about accessibility at all, but I definitely um realized that I overlooked it when I was presenting my game at Indianapolis PopCon, Pop Culture Convention, and a fan of video games, a gamer, came up to my booth, and I'm assuming he has cerebral palsy. I'm not too sure because I didn't ask him. I thought it was rude, so I didn't. I was like, "Hey, what do you have?" You know. But I'm assuming he has cerebral palsy because he had a lot of difficulty using his hands, especially his thumbs. So he was playing my game, um, Beware the Bully, with his fingers on the face buttons, and he was able to play it because of the fact that my game's very simple. It's just left, right, and jump, so there wasn't much to it. But he said he had. I asked him how does it play? Are you able to play it well? He was like, yeah, it's a basic platformer. That's fine. And he had no trouble. But at that point, I was like, wow, I completely overlooked this. But fortunately, it's due to it being a simple game with few controls. It was easy for him to play it. But if it was a more difficult game, he would not have been able to play it.
Yeah.
And I would have, I don't know, honestly, I would have felt very embarrassed if it was like, if I had like a first person shooter, and he can't use the triggers on the backside of the gamepad and I have no remapping, I would have felt extremely embarrassed for the fact that I did not accommodate for his needs to be able to play the game.
Yeah, definitely. I just think it's extremely important to keep those things in mind. I don't know. I don't know what like where I started to. Maybe it's just because like I have a strong passion for video games and I want people to enjoy it. I don't know. Just the I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, like back to the article with AJ Ryan, like he contacted Nintendo due to Splatoon 2.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and as you said regarding the gamepad, um, he couldn't like he couldn't use the back triggers to shoot. So that's I mean, if he can't do the primary function of the game, he can't play it.
Yeah.
So, um, and I think that's just kind of like the icing on the cake that he's had to deal with Nintendo regarding missing out on every single Zelda since Twilight Princess, and all these great games that they just don't accommodate with. So I could understand his frustration completely. So
Okay, so in this article, it mentions that able gamers, I mean, they're not allowed to mention a lot of their work due to them being under NDA with all these different companies. But they have been able to work with like Blizzard on World of Warcraft's colorblind options, clickable on-screen movement. They've also helped with Call of Duty and Rock Band's approach for accessibility. And this quote that they have here is, not only do we consider Nintendo platforms to be the most inaccessible, they are the only major publishing house to ignore our request for accessibility improvements.
that's pretty damning, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, like Nintendo is supposed to be the face of, these games are for everyone. These are family friendly. These games are marketed for every person, young, old, whatever,
Doesn't the new Mario game?
hardcore or casual. But they do not. I mean, like the fact that they do not consider their um, or they've been ignoring their requests for accessibility for disabled. That's
Yeah,
a huge statement right there.
the new Mario game has motion as well. Mario Odyssey, you control the hat with motion.
Hmm.
Also, arms you can't do with. They have a a mode without motion, but the problem is it's limited. Like you can't do the same functions without motion. Like you have less options.
Yeah, and like I wanna also say that when we talk about like these type of things with Nintendo, it's not because we hate Nintendo and we want to pick on Nintendo. It's because we love Nintendo games and we want as many people to play Nintendo games, but Nintendo doesn't want people to play Nintendo games for some reason.
Honestly, I hold them to a higher standard than everyone else because they've been, in the industry the longest. They should know.
Yeah.
Um, but whether it's accessibility or other things, they have a tendency to seemingly not care.
Yeah.
And
They don't care that their hardware is always sold out. They don't
yeah.
they don't care that there's other platforms that they can publish their their software on.
Respect, like they want to respect the gamer by putting out a good game, but they never respect them in other regards. And there's this like dichotomy of like, well, you always try to make the best game, and the famous quote, a delayed game, or I forget what he's Miyamoto said. Like, if you release a game that's bad, it'll be bad forever. If you delay a game, um, it could be good or something like that. I mean, they have this mentality of like they want to release the best of the best, but they
It's
don't.
a quote was "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You fool me. You fool me. You can't fool me again."
There you go.
That's the famous quote.
But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about that. It's, I mean, not many people were talking about it. It wasn't really a hot topic, it seemed like, but I saw enough people that are kind of in that same boat of either they have physical limitations, or they are people that are like advocates for those type of people, like able gamers. So I thought we should talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think I'm good.
Here's another thing on this article. It mentions quote from them. It says, "Long ago, we had to hunt down who to talk to in these companies. At GDC 2009, we set up a camera and asked one question: Have you ever thought about gamers with disabilities? And most developers answered no. Only one developer laughed at the question and walked away. Today, most developers will answer yes. They have thought about it and tried to design for inclusion. It's been an amazing change in the industry and a long-fought battle." I think there's one developer that laughed and walked away was Nintendo, the living embodiment of Nintendo. It was actually Mario himself. He was like, they asked Mario, "Have you ever thought about gamers with disabilities?" And he was like, "Wah-ha! And here we go," and walked away.
He just, jumped out of the room.
Yep.
Jumped out.
Let's go. All right. But yeah, let's move on. You know what thing that is definitely accessible for everybody, very user friendly, very unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth.
Who's that? Tell me.
DreamHost. DreamHost's web service has all those things I just mentioned: unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface. They also optimize to use content managers such as WordPress, which is very user-friendly, and many more features. All that just for $7.95 US a month, and it gets better if you use the promo code OUTITContinues. That's one word, no spaces. It'll waive away the setup fee, get your free domain registration.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Sounds
like a deal.
Yeah.
Sounds accessible.
It is very accessible. One quick announcement.
At low price.
one quick announcement. One thing that's not accessible is iTunes. if you can somehow access iTunes, if you have the access to do so, please leave us a review. It would really help us out. It's one of the single most helpful things you could do for the podcast. But if you are unable to access iTunes, if you're unable to leave us a review for whatever reason, because iTunes is a joke, you can also help out the podcast in many more ways, such as sharing the podcast on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. Tell your mom, tell your friends, tell the Asian guy that's living on the side of your living room. He's gone. He walked out. Yeah. So let's go on and let's talk about some news. Are we ready for some news?
I am ready.
You ready? All right, let's do some news. As I'm screen sharing this news, here we go. So the first news I have on here, Pokemon Go Fest attendees in Chicago refunded after technical glitch. So this past weekend, or yesterday on Saturday, there was the first ever Pokemon Go Fest held Saturday in Chicago's Grant Park. But thousands of players left disappointed after popular app has crashed. So the app crashed, the servers were down. Basically this festival, there was like $20 a ticket to go to this festival, and there was like an exclusive Pokemon that was at this park, and also some tickets went on eBay for $450. Like they sold out of tickets in 10 minutes. Tickets were being sold on eBay for $450. People came from around the. What's that?
What was the normal price?
20.
20. Okay.
$20 normal price, $450 on eBay. It was sold out in 10 minutes. People came from around the world to come to this.
This is a 20 times markup. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So everyone got refunded their $20 for the tickets. Not the $450 though. And they were given like $100 something in like in-game currency as an apology. But either way, it's like, what did you expect when you had like so many people all in one area?
Yep.
For
what is network congestion?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what as you said, what did they expect?
I mean, this is like probably an even bigger failure than SMNC.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You said he's not in there, right?
He isn't. He's not in here. I'm bringing the conversation back around.
There you go.
Full circle. Yeah. So let's move on. You ready?
Yes.
All right. So a game got revealed, Hob, which is being developed by Runic Games, who developed Torchlight and Torchlight 2, and the founding members of the studio came from they worked on Diablo 2. So we have like.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure at this point it's they barely make up the studio at this point.
Yeah.
Because that's been a while ago. But founding members of Diablo 2 are working on Hob. Did you get to watch this trailer?
Yeah, I did. It looks okay.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. I mean, it looks like it has action and platforming elements.
Puzzle.
And yeah, some puzzle elements as well. Though I didn't see any sign of like inventory or RPG elements. I'm not sure if it's going to have that. It doesn't look like it, which seems like a big departure from what they're used to making. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said that some of their pedigree is in Diablo 2, it definitely shows with that type of, I don't know, it's not isometric, but that top-ish, down-ish view.
Yeah, I'd say it's close to isometric view. I mean, it's I mean, it's too far out to be third person view,
Yeah,
and it's not really a top down view either. It's somewhat of an isometric view.
I thought isometric specifically in regards to um, 2D.
No.
Oh, okay. Because isometric,
I mean, like,
you don't have the depth perception like 3D does.
from what I understand, I mean, I might be completely wrong. I mean, I'm no mathematician or anything, but from what I understand, like, people describe the viewpoint of Diablo as isometric, and those type of games as isometric view.
Isometric of or having equal dimensions. Yeah, because the thing is, in like 2D games, you have like isometric games. They have all the tiles are exactly the same size. So even though there's typically a perspective to it, there's no like vanishing point.
Hmm.
So because this is a 3D rendered game, I don't think it could technically be isometric, unless I guess
I
you.
mean, like I said, I'm no mathematician, so I can't math.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it looks like a cool game. The art style looks really cool. I really like it. The character design looks similar to, in a way, it looks similar to Journey, except a little, more robotic with the arm and everything.
I guess.
I mean, like if you
I
look
didn't
at
think
this,
of Journey when I saw that, but I guess that works.
yeah. But yeah, I think it looks cool. Moving on.
Yeah.
Any other opinions you want to share?
Nope.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Terry Crews. Power.
Bawa.
Yeah. Terry Crews is gonna be in Crackdown 3. Like, they released a photo of him in Crackdown 3. In fact, um he looks like Big Bo from uh what's that game called? I'm having a brain fart. Um Binary Domain.
I did not play that game.
Big Bo, Binary Domain. Big Bo being the best character in Binary Domain.
Oh, he's got crazy ass going.
Because he's Big Bo. He's the best. Anyways, so he looks a little bit like Big Bo from Binary Domain, but either way, he's gonna be in the game Crackdown 3, which makes Crackdown 3 a must play at this point. Game of the year. Let's. I mean, don't even need to release any more games this year. We're done. Move on.
You don't even
Move.
need to release Crackdown. You just need to say that he's in the game.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, just
That good.
you don't even need to release a game. You just need like a character creation mode where like you can't change any of the character's features. You just spin them around and it's just Terry Crews no matter what. All the options are Terry Crews.
Of course.
And that's it. You can just spin them around and switch one Terry Crews head to a different Terry Crews head.
The best of Terry Crews.
Yep. That's it. We're done. Crackdown Crackdown Theory Terry Crews. I need a shirt that just says Terry Crews. I'd wear that to work.
There you go.
Terry Crews.
Yep.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies. They released the trailer. I thought it was a pretty good trailer.
Non-gameplay trailers don't do much for me.
It had some gameplay in it. I think it did.
It had some gameplay type looking stuff, but
I
don't recall seeing like, oh, this is the first person. Maybe there was a lot of juxtaposition and scene switching, so it's kind of hard to remember.
Yeah. One thing though is so Sledgehammer Games is making Call of Duty World War II, and the founding members of Sledgehammer Games came from what's their name? Visceral Games. that worked on Dead Space.
Yes.
So they are familiar with horror.
Spooky.
Yeah. So I mean, similar to Dead Space, the trailer is very serious. Takes a serious tone. It's not, um, comical like the previous Call of Duty game, last year's Infinite Warfare, that had like the '90s goofy zombies. So like completely, 180 from last year's game. So if you're more into the more serious zombies mode, this looks like they're doing that, and I think it looks pretty cool. Like the monsters that they have on here, uh, look like the designs look pretty cool. I like it. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No, I mean, I'm pretty indifferent with that.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about from one Call of Duty game to another. Let's talk about Titanfall 2.
There you go.
So Titanfall 2, one of my favorite games of last year. I really like Titanfall 2's campaign. I didn't really play any of the multiplayer at all, but Titanfall 2, they've been adding free DLC to the game. They've been supporting the game since the launch, and they have added like a 4-player co-op mode, or they are adding a 4-player co-op mode. Looks like next week. Yeah, Tuesday. Like after watching the trailer, it's like, man, I want to play this game again because I had a lot of fun with Titanfall 2. You didn't even know Titanfall 2 was out.
I did not. I did not know that.
For you, I'd say I think the campaign is worth checking out. It was a really well done campaign.
Oh, isn't that the game where they said there's like the talking mech or something like that?
Yeah, the mech is the character.
Okay. Okay, maybe.
And the mech is a good character. Like, I really liked the mech. I liked the mech more than I liked the character I was playing as.
Well, maybe that was intentional. I don't know. It's like meta commentary about like these robots.
Well, it was more supposed to be. It was more designed to be like a buddy cop comedy, where you have like the straight shooter and the sarcastic guy. And your person was the sarcastic guy, and the mech was the straight shooter, and he was a bit too straight shooting.
Okay.
Like he would take your the guy's dialogue a bit too literally. Like for example,
because he doesn't understand sarcasm.
Yeah, like one example, like one of the levels, like there's a bunch of moving platforms. Like it's like an industrial place that's putting together homes. It's like a just an industrial, everything's on like a conveyor, just moving, assembly line. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So, everything's moving, and there's like all sorts of lasers everywhere that you gotta like try to avoid from like having the platform bring you into there and get diced up. And by the end of it, your guy is like, I think his name is B9, or BT. Yeah, BT. He was like, BT. BT says, asks if you're all right, and he was like, yeah, that was a meat grinder back there. And BT's like, I believe there was no food processing plant back there. Just taking it extremely literally. But yeah, I mean, it was a really cool game, and watching the trailer for the 4-player co-op, I mean, it looks similar to what they added in Titanfall 1 very late in its life to try to revive it. And Yeah, I mean, I think it looks cool. I want to reinstall the game and go back to this.
Well, that's cool, at least.
Yeah. So speaking of Titanfall, new strategy game, further detailed, released this year. So Titanfall Assault is a mobile game, strategy game. The art style looks very similar to Planetary Annihilation, where it's very boxy but yet cartoony looking. I mean, they have like the mechs from Titanfall. Like they got the. Let me go back one screen. Yeah, like they got the same mechs from Titanfall, the Ronin, the Ion, the Scorch, and I mean, I think it's cool that they're um, trying to expand on the Titanfall IP, but at the same time, it's like they're setting up another Titanfall game for failure because I don't see this being very popular nor successful.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like EA is purposely setting up Titanfall for failure every time. It's like the first game, okay, we're going to have this only on Xbox 360 and oh, wait, was it Xbox One?
Yeah, Xbox One. It was on 360.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was only on Xbox.
Yeah, only on we're going to put this only on Xbox and PC and also no single player campaign. You know, they purposely set it up for failure. Then the second game, they're like, okay, we're going to released this game a week after Battlefield 1 and 2 weeks before Call of Duty. You know, again, setting it up for failure. And then this game, it's like, all right, we're going to give Titanfall another chance. We're going to, release this mobile game, this strategy game, which this RTS, like fans of the game who are into shooters may or may not be into this. I mean, it's not really appealing towards them. Maybe it will because there's some people who are like into whatever, but it's not exactly going for the same audience.
Yeah.
So it's setting up for failure once again.
Mobile games are very. They're either a win or lose. It seems
Mm-hmm.
like it's you can't really find a middle ground.
Yeah.
You either gain traction or you don't.
I mean, I really like how this looks. Like the art looks good for a mobile game. I mean, they really captured how the mechs look properly with this, more cartoony art style. But like I said, it's not exactly marketed towards fans of the game. It's marketed towards people who are into RTS games, who, not necessarily are all fans of Titanfall.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's cool to see that they're still trying to work on Titanfall, but it's also frustrating to see that they're setting it up for failure once again.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I'm not really. I'm not really keen on RTSs in the first place, but when I think of RTS, I don't think of touch controls is a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about Crash Bandicoot. So Stormy Ascent available right now. Free DLC. It is a level that was unfinished, or so it was cut from the original game. It was super hard level that was cut from the original game, and
it was unfinished as well.
Yeah. Yeah, very hard. And it was also unfinished, and it was cut from the game. But now they have added that as DLC, finished and playable. Go to the PlayStation Store, go to the Crash Bandicoot page, and it's there. Just download it. Bam.
It's free for now.
Yeah, limited time. So, yeah, I got my Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
You know, Crash Bandicoot is like, it's the top-selling game in Australia and New Zealand. Is that racist?
Why would it be racist?
Oi, you got my Bandicoot.
Bandicoots they're native to that region. The when you die from the nitro things, you hear a little didgeridoo, which is native to those lands. It is supposed to be. Well, the original was supposed to be, you know.
Okay, so let me rephrase. Is that are they living up to stereotype by all purchasing Crash Bandicoot?
Maybe.
You know, it is not only is it best selling over there, but in UK, Crash Bandicoot is constantly being sold out to the point where scalpers are reselling it for twice the amount.
Scalpers are the worst.
Yeah. Like, why is Crash Bandicoot so popular?
I don't know.
Well,
Anyway.
I mean, I knew Crash Bandicoot was popular, but I didn't know that popular. It's like people, fans of Crash, were yearning for Crash to come back so badly that now that he's back, it's like it's sold out everywhere around the world, except for the United States, where you can get it easily. You know, I hope that this means that, you know, due to it actually selling well, that they will actually make a sequel that plays like those games.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, they already have the art assets at this point. So, you know, I mean, I don't know. They probably not going to reuse those art assets, but I mean, like they at least have the system down. Yeah, they have the game systems down. They have the models for the characters. Yeah, so it shouldn't be as hard to make a sequel at this point.
Yep.
They call it Crash 4, ignoring all other Crash Bandicoots that came out after Crash 3.
Anyway,
you heard it here first. Exclusive. Let's move on. Let's talk about Overwatch. Overwatch League, to be more specific. So, when Blizzard filed for trademark on their logo for Overwatch League, like they have 90 days to, you know, for anybody to like object to it, to oppose it, and like on the very last minute, MLB is like, nope, this looks too similar to our logo, which you can kind of see right here, MLB logo. And I mean, like, while you can't confuse the two, I do agree that they look too similar. It does look like this is inspired by MLB's logo.
I mean, be inspired by it, but do they have like a do they have the two colors separated by white thing? Like, is that part of their trademark as well?
I'm not sure. I mean, I mean, the whole point of trademarks is to make sure that there's no confusion between products, and I don't think this is going to create any confusion.
I don't think so.
Though that's not my call. That's like a judge's call. So whether the judge thinks that this will create confusion or not, I mean, like, I don't think a judge would say that this would create confusion, but I mean, at the same time, judges have said dumber things, so who knows? But Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that while it doesn't create confusion, I think this stylistically it looks too similar.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinion you want to share?
I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but I don't necessarily agree. So, but it will be handled in court or litigation or whatever.
Yeah. So let's move on. So Ubisoft, they respond to Red Dead Redemption 2's delay. Red Dead Redemption 2 has been delayed to it's been moved out of 2017. It looks like it's been shifted towards 2018, and Ubisoft responds to this by saying, "Yay!" They say, yeah, they say clearly the fact that there's no Red Dead Redemption 2 is a positive for our fiscal year 2018. This is something that we had taken into our financial assumptions. So the absence of the game is, of course, giving us a better window for the launch of some of our games. And I just find this very entertaining. The fact that the CFO of Ubisoft had to actually come out and say "yay" to the fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 is not coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
You have any opinion you want to share?
I mean, I could understand. I could empathize with their unfortunate.
uh, I mean, Red Dead Redemption is considered to be one of the best games of last generation.
Rockstar is considered one of the best companies, so going up against either their game or them in general must be a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
I know Ubisoft wants to, prevent a hostile takeover, so I don't blame them for being glad that it's not coming out at the same time.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about what's this game called? Icon Combat Arena. Did you get a chance to watch this trailer, Ali?
I didn't.
So, Icon Combat Arena announced for PC, free-to-play game. It is a brawler similar to Smash Brothers, and it's developed by Wave Dash Games, who have in the past worked on mods for Smash Brothers Brawl, Project M mod, the one that makes the game play more like Melee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you watch this trailer, it basically looks like Super Smash Brothers.
Minus the iconic characters, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, this stage is clearly Final Destination. I don't know if like I'm not too familiar with like the characters' movements because I'm not some Smash Brothers aficionado or whatever, but like I wasn't able to be like, oh, that's clearly Link or whatever. I mean, there was one character that was like, oh, that's Vash the Stampede, but at no point was I like, oh, that's clearly this character.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if like the characters are, just reskins of Smash Bros. Characters or if they are all completely original. I mean, stylistically, I think the characters look like they're from Blizzard games.
Yeah, they kind of do, to be honest.
But at no point was I like, oh, this is clearly that character from Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It does look neat. And I mean, it's free to play, so it sounds like they might be going like the same path as Brawlhalla, which is another brawler that's designed to clearly be like Super Smash Brothers. Yeah. Have you ever played Brawlhalla?
I have not.
It's 2D, but other than it being 2D, it plays exactly like Smash Brothers. The only main difference is all the characters have a weapon, so it's more weapon based. Each character can like throw the weapons, but weapons play a larger part with Brawlhalla than items do in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
But Brawlhalla has been free to play, and basically you can play to unlock the game. Unlock the characters, or you can micro transaction the characters. Well, I think more of the microtransactions are the different skins for the characters, but there's like the purchase all option to like get all of the characters at least. I don't know about the skins. So I mean, I'm assuming that they're going to do something similar with this Icons Combat Arena. With also, I find the title of the game kind of ironic due to, even though it's like Icons Combat Arena, it's like those characters, like those characters are not icons. No one, they are not recognizable to anybody.
Yeah.
Except for Vash the Stampede.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I mean, like I said, I didn't see the trailer, but I've kind of not really been interested in any type of brawler probably since Melee.
Have you ever played Project M?
Yes, I have.
What'd you think of it?
It was okay.
It was okay. That's it.
Yeah.
You were unimpressed.
I mean, I like, as you said, to echo you, I am not a Smash Brothers aficionado.
Oh, you used to be. Like, I remember you used to be really into it.
I mean, I used to play all the time. Like would go to my friend's house and like that's all we played for like 4 hours straight. But that's because I like being competitive with my friends.
Oh, okay.
They're fun games, but it's like outside of that kind of application, I don't really care.
Oh, okay. All right, let's move on.
Yep.
Let's talk about Mega Man. Mega Man movie has found its director and writer, reports say. So, director of documentary Catfish. I have never even heard of that. Mm-hmm. Have you?
No.
Okay. Why does it? These articles don't even give a name. Give me a name of the person. Catfish documentary. Okay, so director either Ariel Schulman or Henry Joost. Let's see if either of those names are in there. Yeah, okay. Both of them. Oh, so the directors. Okay, so both of them, Joost and Schulman, are working on this. And they also made Paranormal Activities 3 and 4. So yeah, they're gonna be working on this this Mega Man movie, and that's pretty much all this article says. That they're just in negotiations. I think I heard that Disney had something to do with this as well. I'm not sure. I might be making this up, but this article doesn't mention anything about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be like an animation. It's not gonna be live action. Mm-hmm. Money down right now. It's an animation.
Yeah, I doubt it'll be live action.
Yeah.
That seems like the budget would be too high.
Mega Man starring Vin Diesel.
Nope.
Ready Player One.
Have
you read the book Ready Player One? I haven't either, but I've heard very good things about it, and now I want to get the audiobook because this trailer looks pretty cool, and I've heard very good things about the book. Ready Player One, while it's not based on any specific video game, it is a video game related book where people would go into VR and play video games, and the trailer had a lot of references, like the Iron Giant, Tron Cycles.
A lot of 80s references.
Yeah, it had the DeLorean. And from what I understand, those are actually references from the book. The book actually references those pop culture references. And from what I hear, WB took a while to get this movie greenlit because they had to get like the license to have all those things, show up in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Tron Cycles are owned by Disney.
Yeah.
So WB had to make a deal with Disney to get Tron Cycles in there.
I wonder. I mean, wait, who's making the movie?
WB. Warner Brothers.
Who made Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Gene Wilder.
Yes, Gene Wilder made it.
Yes.
I was just wondering because there was that like weird cover or whatever you want to call it, Pure Imagination. So that's probably another license or something they have to do. Unless maybe you don't have to for covers. I don't know.
I don't.
Or something.
Quaker Oats Company.
Quaker Oats Company?
It was distributed by Paramount Pictures.
Oh, okay.
But Quaker Oats produced it.
Huh. Interesting. That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, they do have the candies as well, like the actual candies. But anyways, what were you saying again? I was distracted by me looking at Willy Wonka.
I don't remember.
You said Pure Imagination.
Yeah, Pure Imagination. I don't know if they have to pay for cover royalties or something like that.
Oh. I'm not sure, but this does look like a very interesting movie. Was there a release date that they mentioned anywhere? 2018.
There you go.
It just says 2018. So next year. So I have the remainder of this year to listen to the audiobook. Time to do this. All right.
Do it.
Yeah. Are you gonna check out the book, or is it just me?
Probably not.
It looks like it's just me. I'll tell Kevin to do it as well. He'll do it. So it's not just me. In fact, Kevin probably already read it. But
the thing is, if the book is really good and then the movie isn't, then it'll like knowing the book will hurt my experience of the movie. But if I don't if I don't read the book and I see the movie and I like the movie, then that's good. Set my expectations low.
I like your thinking. All right, let's move on. So Inhumans dropped their second trailer for the TV show. Did you get to watch this trailer?
No, I didn't see that one. I'm guessing that's one you added like right before the thing.
Yeah, I added this right before we started recording. Okay. So Inhumans dropped their second trailer because San Diego Comic-Con, and this trailer should have been the first trailer. Because the first trailer, I was like, I don't care. This trailer, I was like,
I wasn't really impressed.
Yeah, this trailer, I was like, oh, this looks more interesting. They had much more interesting use of music. They showed more of like Medusa using her powers. I mean, they showed like the Inhumans actually being Inhumans. And like Lockjaw, not the disease, the dog. It wasn't like some weird comical thing at the end, like which made no sense of the first trailer. Like they made them like posing all funny, like that. It made no sense. Like why are they doing that? Even though the rest of the trailer was serious. So this one it seemed to keep a more specific tone, a more serious tone. They weren't trying to like joke around or anything, and it fit. It didn't seem like any like they had like jokes that like were completely off, like the first one. So I'm more interested. I'm still not interested in watching this in IMAX, which like they try to make that big deal in the trailer. They're like, "Oh, must see in IMAX. You get to see more." I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna watch this in IMAX. I'll just watch this at home on Hulu. But yeah, just want to say, I mean, since you didn't watch it, you don't have any input, right?
I do not know.
Yeah, I'll just say it looks more interesting. I am more interested.
Well, that's good.
So, uh, you know, we have WB. Yesterday morning, WB dropped this trailer for Justice League, and everybody was talking about this all morning long. They're like, "Wow, this looks pretty cool." Did you get to watch the trailer?
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts on it first, before I share my thoughts.
It looks okay. I mean, I haven't seen Wonder Woman. I haven't seen the Batman. I haven't seen, I don't know.
Oh, you haven't
Soul.
seen Batman v Superman?
No.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
Yeah, Aquaman and Flash are two new. Well, not new. Aquaman's new, right?
Yeah, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg are new.
Okay, that's Cyborg. Okay, I was trying to figure out who that was.
Well,
So,
Flash made a cameo in Suicide Squad that was like 1 second,
yeah.
and also like a 10-second cameo in Batman versus Superman, and he had like
I
a
didn't really want to include him because he had his own TV show, but I guess that's a different actor, and I
yeah,
guess
different actor, different Barry Allen.
yeah. Oh, it's a different Barry Allen. Okay.
I mean, like it's still Barry Allen, but it's not connected with the show.
Yeah, right. Speaking of which, I didn't really like the actor for Flash. I don't know. He didn't. I don't know if it was just the delivered lines or something. They try to make him like seem funny, but he wasn't. Um, I don't know. Who's the I'm not too familiar with DC. Who's the antagonist?
The antagonist I couldn't tell. I think it's Magog or Gog. I don't know. I'm pretty sure at the very least it's a new god. The new gods being uh like they're these very powerful beings from like there's one called Apocalypse and another one called Genesis, and they've been at war with each other. Genesis being like the good guys, they're all heavenly, and the ones from Apocalypse are all like demonic and evil, and they're all characters that were designed by Jack Kirby, so they all have like a very I mean, the only way to describe it is like Jack Kirby style. Like he has his own like 70s style that he made up himself. Um, so I'm pretty certain it's a character from uh, the New Gods, and
Okay.
I don't
I was just gonna see if you happen to know offhand or anything.
yeah, I don't think it's Darkseid who is the big bad. Darkseid being like what Thanos is to Marvel. So, I don't think it's Darkseid. But and I know the way how I worded that, people are gonna get angry like, no, Darkseid came up before Thanos. It's like, no, I'm not saying Darkseid is a copy of Thanos. Chill. I'm just saying Darkseid is to DC as Thanos is to Marvel. Chill out. Calm down. Take a deep breath. You're fine.
Yeah.
So,
who do you think was at the end of the trailer?
the end of the trailer. I don't.
It was Alfred or something. I think it was like It was like I wasn't expecting you to show up. Or was that Alfred or was that
This is Alfred.
Commissioner Gordon?
This is Alfred.
Oh, okay.
On my screen right now,
yeah, I wasn't looking at it. Sorry.
That's
Yeah, so
Alfred.
Alfred was talking to someone, a mystery person, saying he wasn't expecting them or something.
Superman.
But did they show Superman earlier in the
trailer? No. Because Superman died in Batman v Superman.
Oh. Spoiler alert.
No, it's not a spoiler because you don't want to watch the movie anyways.
I don't think many people do.
They in the trailer they show like the fall of Superman. Like there's some sign somewhere that says the fall of Superman, like some memorial.
I thought they showed him after that though.
No, they did not. You're probably looking at Aquaman's pecs.
No, because I thought I saw Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck is not Superman. He's Batman.
He's Batman. Never mind. Okay. Who's Superman?
Henry Cavill. Okay. But I'm pretty sure it's Superman because even the poster, which I personally think looks pretty bad, it's has like all the heroes' logos, and there's a Superman logo in there, even though Superman's not on the poster. So, but my thoughts on the trailer is that I think the effects look good. I think the action looks good, but every single joke, yeah, it was bad. Like none of the jokes worked. I think there was at least 4 jokes, but I'm pretty sure there's 5 jokes in there. So 5 jokes within 4 minutes, and none of them worked. Yeah, it wasn't good at all. Like I think all the jokes were terrible. They all fell extremely flat, especially with like the whole trailer trying to go with like this whole actiony, dark type of mood.
Yeah.
But then they will just stop with and then like deliver a bad joke. It's like, I got this, Alfred. Do I know you? And then I'm like, that was not a funny joke.
I don't know if that was even supposed to be a joke.
I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be a joke. The way how that was delivered makes it seem like it was supposed to be a joke, but I didn't find it funny at all. It was like in the first Avengers movie where Iron Man's like, I'm going to bring the party, and then like the giant alien flying worm comes in, and then Black Widow's like, that doesn't look like a party. Like that was the most falling flat joke ever. Like when I was watching that in theaters, like the whole theater busted laughing when Tony Stark said, I'm going to bring the party. But then as soon as Black Widow said that doesn't look like a party, like the entire theater went quiet. It was that it fell that flat. And
anyway,
I feel like the jokes are like that. Like they just all fell super flat.
Anyway, I was gonna say I agree with like the CG looks good. Like
yeah.
Even though I don't really like the look of the Flash, I think the effects for him were good. It wasn't like you could tell there's no like major gulf in terms of like CGI, because like the Flash TV show is a TV show, especially on CW as well. So there's some budgetary constraints going on there, but I'm glad that they didn't seem to cut that there. But I do think that there are some low quality shots in the trailer. I don't know if they're just like not touched up 100%.
So one other thing that I thought was off with the trailer was, why is Wonder Woman like walking into a bank, stopping a bank robbery? Like, isn't that like below her?
Superman used to do it, right?
I mean, I don't know. I guess if they're like,
because Because they were like,
well, the thing is, like,
Superman's dead, so there's a lot of chaos going on.
Well, Superman, like, he patrols the city of Metropolis. Like, Wonder Woman doesn't really patrol a city. She doesn't have a city she patrols. And another thing is, like, if you compare this to Marvel, like, the Avengers have made it clear that, like, common crime is below them. You're not gonna find Thor stopping a bank robbery because that's below Thor. And Wonder Woman is on the same level as Thor. She should not be stooping low, down to like a police officer's job. She needs to be stopping like, cosmic threats. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know.
Like the fact that she's coming into a bank and stopping a bank robbery, and then she does like this impressive slide to sweep. Like, why is she like doing that? Like, the bullet. Yeah, exactly. Why is she sweeping the guy? Like, it's overkill.
Sweep the leg.
Yeah, in fact, like she could also, I mean, she could basically, she doesn't even need to punch him. She can like Captain America, shield toss at his face.
Throw a book at his face and it'd be good.
Yeah, a book.
Anyway.
But I mean, I don't know. I just thought that it's kind of weird seeing a super powerful superhero, fighting, a bank robbery. I mean, that's something that Spider-Man, that's more of a street level hero, would do. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and not like, you don't find Thor or Iron Man stopping a bank robbery.
Anyway,
but
I mean, yeah, overall, I thought it was a good
trailer. I think it was better than the previous trailer. It had some cool action. It had some cool effects, though I did still have some issues with the trailer. I think also, I mean, like, I think that like the humor might be added later on in production of the movie. Like, it might have been added by Joss Whedon because he was recently assigned to cover for Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Due to him no longer being working on the project because of his family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Zack Snyder is more of a, like, here's some cool action scenes or bringing comic panels to life, while Joss Whedon he's known for like adding in humor and making it balance between humor and serious. So I think the humor might have been added by Joss Whedon, and that's probably why it just feels so off, because it's two different directors' directions clashing with each other. Does that make sense? I might be making all this up, and maybe all of it was Zack Snyder, but that's my theory.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, everyone was talking about this yesterday morning, and everyone was like, "Yeah, Justice League, it's happening." And then Marvel steps in and says, "Hey, that's cute. Here's our Thor Ragnarok trailer too."
I didn't like that trailer. I'll just say this now.
You didn't like it?
Yeah, I thought. First of all, I have not really been a fan of the Thor movies. I think the second one was better than the first.
You what? Get out of here! You're like you're the only one who I've ever heard say that.
The first one they had what's her name in there as some sort of like flimsy love reason for
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I didn't.
She was still in the second one.
Is she still? I thought she was like mostly not in it.
She was still in the second one.
Like hardly though.
But she was still there.
but like they got rid of like the rest of like I don't know. I didn't like I'm gonna say I don't really like the Thor movies. Um,
Well, I mean, the
but
Thor movies have been the weaker Marvel movies, especially Thor 2, which I think that was the weakest of the Marvel movies yet. Um, but this Thor Ragnarok trailer, I am very hyped. I think it's better than the first trailer, which got me very hyped. Uh, like I really liked the style of it, like the scene where Hela comes in and like all these warriors on Pegasus like horses, you know, just riding in. I thought that looked really cool. Um,
yeah. Um, I don't know. I just didn't like the trailer. I thought they went too aggressively. I mean, you can look at like, are they going to carry this whole thing throughout the movie as well? This like heavy '80s influence.
well, I mean, like the '80s influences from one of the um, I can't remember the writer's name, but one of the writers who made who wrote one of Thor's longest and most popular runs during the '80s. Like that's it's a homage to that writer.
Oh,
Like that's the reason why they're going with that style,
I don't know. I feel like
because
everyone's doing '80s style these days, and it's annoying. It's like '80s is like the new trend.
yeah, I mean I get what you mean because like what's it called? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then look at Ready Player One as heavy '80s influence. What is that movie? Not the movie, the show called Stranger Things is '80s. You know, it's just like a lot of '80s happening right now, and it's just like, why does everyone have to do the same thing?
Well, I mean, like I don't know. I guess because we've gotten to the point where '80s is retro. I mean, like if you look in the past, I mean, like the same thing happened with '60s and '70s. Like you know, people like, oh, the '70s disco, you know, and '60s hippie stuff. You know, like I remember like in the '90s, you know, there was a lot of things with '60s influence. So I think it's just because like '80s is now considered retro, so that might be a reason why a lot of things have '80s influence.
Speaking of another '80s, Jumanji, and Welcome to the Jungle.
You know, Guns N' Roses is angry that their song is being used
No, they're
with
not.
that.
Here.
No, they have said it before. Like they've been vocal
Oh,
before
really?
that uh, "Welcome to the Jungle" is used by movies and stuff like that. Like they were angry that Jim Carrey was like lip syncing to it in some movie like back before Jim Carrey was popular. Like who they're like, look at this nerd lip syncing to our music.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, so I'm very sure that they are angry that their song is being used again. Um, so you know, there's other songs that have to do with jungles, like "The Lion Sleeps Tonight." Like, what? Why can't they use that song?
Because it's not as metal. Uh,
Are you sure? A wee away, a wee away, a wee away,
no,
a wee
no,
away.
I'm wrong. Actually, it's yeah, that's more metal.
Don't hate on a wee away. But I don't know. I don't know what you're on, but I personally think this Thor trailer was awesome.
I've been hard to impress these days.
I was I watched this trailer like 3 times. I was like, this is really cool. I'm ready for this. Like I think the dialogue was pretty good, and seeing like, you know, Hulk in there is also a great addition. Hulk had like the most dialogue he's had since um Avengers. Like that was the last time Hulk has had a speaking role in the MCU. Like he didn't say anything in Avengers 2.
Yeah, he did not.
And like
I remember, well, when I watched this trailer, I was a bit taken aback that he said something.
Well, like from what I understand, like people are saying that they're using alien technology to make him more focused, like to calm his anger down so that he can focus on speech or something like that.
I think 2 was like he's like super roid raging.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. Moving on to DC once again. So Warner Brothers announces a live-action DC Flashpoint movie. So the Flash movie that they've been working on has had lots of delays. Like they've been switching directors multiple times, and looks like they're finally, you know, coming up with a story for the Flash movie, which is the Flashpoint. Are you familiar with Flashpoint Paradox?
Yeah.
Did you watch the Flashpoint Paradox animated movie on Netflix?
I did not.
It's on Netflix. It's pretty good.
Okay.
I really liked it. The thing with that story, though, minor spoilers, is that it alters the whole DC universe.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to go with this storyline, it seems either a bit too early, or they are ready to go ahead and reboot the entire DC universe once again.
You know, what if they are?
If they are, it's sad, but at the same time, they need to do it because they already screwed it up.
Yeah.
But
they screwed it up with their 2 biggest protagonists, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like they screwed it up with Batman v Superman, and then they released Suicide Squad, and I hear Wonder Woman's good, but like that's one out of like all the rest being bad.
One out of all the
rest. I mean, like they're not even considering the Green Lantern with what's his name, Ryan Reynolds. They're not considering that to be part of the current DC cinematic universe because they're like, oh, that movie is bad, so that's not part of this universe.
Yeah.
So, you know, like they're rebooting on top of rebooting on top of rebooting, and for them to use this storyline would indicate either they are going to reboot once again, or they don't really know what that story is about, even though they should know what the story is about. And they're like, well, this is the latest storyline, this latest Flash storyline that was extremely popular, so let's go ahead and make a live action adaptation of it, even though we have an animated adaptation of it. I don't know. I am very uncertain about this whole announcement. It just seems messed up no matter which way you look at it. Do you have any thoughts you want to share?
I'm not as you're a lot more of a comic oriented type guy than I am. I mean, like I'm into it. I feel like I'm not well versed in any thing to really comment.
Yeah, watch Flashpoint Paradox on Netflix. It's a good 90 minutes. You'll enjoy it. Let's move on to DC Animation. Do you hear the police sirens going off?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. All right. So Young Justice Season 3 reveals character design. So we had a confirmation earlier this year that they're finally working on Young Justice Season 3. The show that got canceled after Season 2 because the fact that the show was not appealing to young boys as much as they wanted, because young boys buy the action figures and the action figures weren't selling as well. So they ended up canceling a great show that had great writing, that focused on like B and C tier characters, like basically the sidekicks and the younger characters. It focused on them, but in a mature fashion. It treated the audience maturely. It treated the audience in a way where it's like, we understand that you're either a young adult or an adult, and we're going to treat you that way and give you storylines that are more mature. And the show didn't have crazy jokes every 3 seconds like other cartoons, but I mean, it had great writing. They always resolved issues in a clever way rather than just, oh, I'm going to become really powerful and win.
Yeah.
So they finally greenlit Season 3. Unfortunately, it's going to be on WB's streaming service, which is going to be competing with Netflix and Hulu. Like, they're launching a brand new streaming service, and this is going to be exclusive to it. So once again, they are setting up the show for failure.
Mm-hmm.
They're going.
That's not smart.
Yeah, like they're setting up for failure because they're like, okay, if the fans really love this show, they will sign up for a streaming service for this. And then when they don't sign up for it, they're gonna be like, well, obviously the fans don't love the show. We're gonna cancel it again. But during Comic-Con, they released some images of the characters. So here, we got Robin, which I'm assuming this is Damian Wayne because of his hood. I'm not sure if it's still Tim Drake, who was in Season 3, or maybe they're having Tim Drake dressed like Damian Wayne. I'm not sure. They have Arsenal, Blue Beetle, the new Kid Flash, Static, aka Static Shock, who looks more like how he's supposed to look compared to in Season 3. I didn't like how he looked in Season 3, but they made him look more like Static in this one. We have Wonder Girl, we have Beast Boy, and then we have these 3 female characters. Arrowette, who I think it's supposed to be Artemis from the previous seasons. Artemis is being an original character for the show based off of the comic character Arrowette. So I think what they're doing is bringing her full circle and making her Arrowette to match the comics. And this new character named 13, and Spoiler over here. That's her name, Spoiler. Yes, spoiler alert. What's that?
Oh no. Someone's going to make that joke, aren't they, in the show?
Spoiler alert. So Spoiler is in the comics, she started off as being Robin. She was a female Robin, and then she moved up. I think for a brief time she was a Batgirl, and now she's Spoiler in the comics. So I don't know if they're going to give her all that backstory in Young Justice. They'll probably just start her off as Spoiler and not have her, go through that transition. But yeah, and And then they showed off some character designs. Oh, okay. So I guess Arrowette is not Artemis because there's Artemis right there.
Oh.
And there's Tim Drake, Nightwing.
Yep.
Like they're wearing ninja masks for some reason. And I think that's Aqualad. He is no longer blonde and he has a beard. They're making him look more like what's that actor's name? Danny Glover.
Oh.
Don't you think they made him look like Danny Glover?
No, that's racist.
I think they.
Danny Glover does have the. Well, I mean,
I think they made him.
Looks more scraggly though. Like I can understand he's got like the longer hair going, the scraggly beard, but like Danny Glover, he's like his thing is really unkept.
I don't know. I think maybe they made him look like Danny Glover so that if they make a live action version, they'll be like, okay, Danny Glover, come on in. And then they have Nolan North over here as Superboy. But I mean, this is one thing I like about Young Justice is that a lot of the stuff in the show made sense. Like you see how right here they're all wearing black and they're all uniform for the most part, and that's because they did a lot of covert ops stuff. So, like for example, there was an episode where they first needed. It was like their first mission at night. It was a covert ops mission. Kid Flash, who normally wears yellow and red, he went into stealth mode or like covert mode, or I can't remember what it's called, but he pressed the button on his chest and it made his whole suit turn black. And it wasn't because he was trying to look edgy, but it was because they are at night and they need him to blend in.
Him wearing a bright polka dot shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Like they don't want someone wearing yellow walking around when they're trying to sneak around. Like they like the things in the show made sense. Or another episode, they're in a mission that's like in Antarctica, and all of them had like white suits and so they can blend in with the snow, but also they had like thick coats on as well. Like especially the non-superpowered people, like they had thick coats because it is cold.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff made sense in the show. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, they're gonna wear spandex no matter where they're at. And I like that. Like the show tried to make sense of itself and took itself very seriously. But I'm very happy to see them release these pictures of the characters, and I'm just very excited to see more Young Justice, because Young Justice is easily one of my favorite animated series, and I highly recommend everyone who is into superhero stuff to check it out. And it's on Netflix. So let's move on. And one more thing real quick. I mean, one more non-video game related thing. Want to talk about this. Good friend of the show, Noah Hawley, director of or showrunner of Legion, the best comic book TV show.
Yeah.
Legion.
Really a comic book TV show.
Yeah, it is.
Is Legion a comic?
Well, he's a comic character.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, he's a comic character. He's from the comics. He's from the X-Men comics.
Oh. Well, I knew it was like tied into the X-Men universe. I didn't know if it was. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Yes. So he he had a panel at Comic-Con, and he ended the panel by hinting that he is working on a Doctor Doom movie for Fox. Let's do this. We're done. Let's see it right now.
It's over.
It's over. I'm ready. My body is
Legion
ready.
Season 2, man. That's what I'm ready for.
I'm ready for Legion season 2. I should start watching Fargo because I really like Legion that much. It's like, okay, this guy is good.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I think it's kind of funny that's like, okay, they're done attempting with making Fantastic Four movies. Let's just make a Doctor Doom movie instead. And but yeah,
I think a villain-based movie would be cool.
yeah, I
Especially
think so as well.
fixing Legion.
Yes,
That sort of seems like a villain-based movie or TV show.
it is. But yeah, I'm ready for this. Let's do this.
It sounds good. I mean, I could imagine it being good.
Yes. I have faith. I have faith in Noah. I believe in Noah Hawley. I am Noah Hawley. I am Noah Hawley. I am Noah Hawley. We are all Noah Hawley. Oh, you Noah Hawley?
No,
I thought I just said we all Noah Hawley.
don't speak for me. You're not my dad.
Anyways, let's wrap this up. We have no listener feedback this week. If you have listener feedback, write in to podcast at outofcontinues.com. And yeah, let's wrap it up. If you enjoy what you've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can leave an iTunes review. You can subscribe to the Google Play Music. You can also contact by email us podcast@outofcontinues.com. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/outofcontinues. All those things I just said really fast are on the website. That's www.outofcontinues.com. You can give me a tweet. I'm at SayDstafa. That's at SayDstafa. And Ali over here has a Twitter that he uses way more than me.
I am at Phosphor112. That is PHOSPHOR112.
I'd like to thank my guest host for joining me today, Ali.
Hey, this is great.
And with that said, I'm your host, Stafa. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click on the icon that's above my face to subscribe. Click over here for last week's episode and click over here for the week before that. Bye.
Peace.